Hey guys, so in this video I'm going to talk about how to become a licensed professional engineer, and obviously it's going to depend on many factors that we'll get into in a second. But first of all, let me just tell you why I decided to do this quick video. Number one, many of my friends and colleagues that I know have been asking me about, how do I become registered within the state as a professional engineer? And also, when I did some research on YouTube, I really didn't find any valuable information. So I decided might as well, do a short video about that. So first of all, I'm registered in 3 states: Arizona, South Carolina, and Missouri. I am a mechanical engineer PE. So I'm really gonna mainly be focusing on the mechanical engineering aspect, although the rest are pretty similar. Just the exams are different, obviously. But the process to get that license from a state perspective is pretty similar. So first of all, as many of you know already that are watching this video probably, that you need to get your FE, right, which is the fundamental of engineering, which is the first exam. It is an 8-hour exam. I would highly encourage you to get it immediately after you graduate from your bachelor's degree in engineering. It just makes it way easier. The exam is, pretty easy. It is a closed book exam. You just have a manual that they'll give you. It's 200 pages probably. A lot of equations in it, and you can download it from the NCEES website, right? Just Google NCEES, and you'll find that manual for the FE on the website. You can download it and check it out. I would highly encourage you to read it, review it prior to the exam, just because during the exams you'll be familiar with it, which equation is where, and so on. The exam for the FE is the first 4 hours, which is the morning session, is a very generic engineering. So it includes mechanical, statics, dynamics, fluid, electrical, pretty much all topics that you studied in the bachelor's degree, depending on your field. So mechanical, civil, environmental, and so on. In the afternoon session, it's gonna be more specific. So mechanical or civil, again, or electrical engineering, controls, I believe, and so on. So that will be the morning session, and it'll be generic, mechanical and so on. So that's that for the FE exam, right? So the more important, obviously, is going to be the PE. So the PE, that's when you become more professional, and that's when it would really help you in your career, right? So for me specifically, I really didn't benefit from them too much, just because I'm in the aerospace field. And for the aerospace field, there are different type of licenses, certificates, which I will make a video about that. But I just got them, obviously, just in case, right? I need to find another job sometime, or whatnot, right? Or I can work as a freelancer and get some extra money if needed. But nevertheless, highly recommended to get your PE license. Really, you have nothing to lose essentially. So the first thing you need to do is you need to go to the NCEES website again, and you need to read about your state. So each state has its own requirements, and I would tell you, being registered in 3 states, they are very different. So each state they could be dramatically different than each other. So as an example, Arizona, you can take the PE exam prior to submitting your application. In South Carolina, you have to submit your application and then take the exam, right? Luckily, I was in Arizona when I first got my PE, so that's where I took my exam. And when I moved to South Carolina or Missouri or New York or Washington and so on, you would become a PE by committee. They call it by committee, and that's just a different topic. I mean, really here I'm just talking about how to become a PE, assuming you're not registered in any state, right? Okay, so let's just stick with the general theme. So you go to the NCEES website, you read about the state. Most likely you're going to have to submit an application. So the application is going to include, number one, your information, your transcript from the school that you graduated from. They're going to ask you also for verification that you have your FE exam taken and passed, that you passed that exam, and it's called EIT. So after you pass your FE, they call you EIT, which is Engineer in Training. They'll need verification about that. Also, you need to prove that you've been working for, I believe, 3 years after your FE under the supervision of a PE engineer. So that's another thing, right? I mean, depending on your field, you may not have PEs within the site, right? Like in my case, I mean, we have almost 0 PEs within my company that I work with, just because they really don't need that type of license for the job I work. So what do you do in that case? Well, again, depending on the state, some states will be okay with you having more experienced people, even though they don't have a PE. Submit a reference letter, or you just need to find somebody, right? And to be honest with you, that is one of the most challenging aspects of the application, is finding the people that would give you a recommendation letter. So generally speaking, they typically would require 5 references. They don't all need to be PEs. At least 3 of them need to be PEs, and the 2 other could be any colleague or an engineer that you worked with. All of them need to be professional, so they're not like your friend, but more professional, right? So if you have your colleague you've been working with, he's a lead engineer or whatnot, you can take a recommendation letter from that person. But you need 3 PE references, and that's really a little bit challenging. So I really had a hard time with that, right? So, but I was able to find some people I worked with in the past and get 3 PE licenses. Submitted my application, again, included my information, transcripts, EIT, 3 references, and just a summary of what I did during my career. Submitted it to the Board of Engineers. They review it, they accept it, they allow you to go register for the PE. At that point, you go to the NCE's website, you register for the exam. The PE is an 8-hour exam as well, but the way it works is, again, let's just say you're a mechanical engineer. The morning session, the first 4 hours, is going to be generic mechanical engineering, and the second 4 hours is going to be specific. So in my case, I took the mechanics segment. You can take heat transfer, you can take HVAC, and so on. So depending on the discipline they want to get into. Same thing for civil, same thing for electrical, and so on. Once you pass your PE, at that point, you're pretty much licensed, really. The Board of Engineers would review your application, and then in a couple weeks, you'll receive in the mail a small letter just saying you're registered, you can get your stamp. Actually, here's my stamp that I have it's over here. So something like that, obviously you need to purchase this, so they'll just send you your number, but you can find this on Google. Just write, stamps, just a general stamp, and then here you'll put your name, your license number, and so on, so you can stamp drawings once you start working, and so on. So that's pretty much it. I mean, I would highly encourage everyone to get your license. There's no disadvantages in it, really. I mean, it's all advantages. It's good for your resume. It's accredited, right? I mean, if people see, oh, you're a PE, that's gives a lot of respect as an engineer from that aspect. And also you can use it in other different type of applications, which again I'll talk about later in a different video. Like in my case, I'm trying to get certificates for the aerospace field, and in one of the questions they asked, are you a professional engineer? So that's pretty cool. You need to keep on, you need to have continuing education to stay registered within the state. And what I mean by that is, initially it'll give you probably a year, and then you're gonna have to renew it and then during the renew phase, we're just going to ask you, have you taken any classes in engineering or have you been working? Because keep in mind, you might take your engineering license, and some people just don't work in a firm, right? They're freelancers or are taking off. So just keep in mind that you need to keep within your field and up to date on what's going on, right? And you can charge quite a bit of money depending on the job. So you can charge a lot of money, and each state will send you a booklet, their requirements, and what you need to do if you want to work, use your license. And keep in mind, I would recommend getting insurance as well, liability insurance. If you start working, you can pay, I don't remember, it's probably like, $100 a month maybe, but something like that. Just get insurance, liability insurance, just in case, to cover yourself. If you work with a firm, you don't need that. But again, I'm just talking if you're a freelancer, mostly. So that's that. I'll put some important links and some references that I would highly recommend if you want to, some references to study for the PE especially. FE, you just need that reference manual.